Alright, this is the second video from section 10.1. So the first video talked about applying the counting principle. So this video is going to focus on permutations, which we'll talk about what that is. So what a permutation is, we talked about, I actually defined it in the first video, and it's an ordering of n objects. So this notation and this formula right here is how you calculate a permutation, and I'm going to give you an example. So P stands for permutation. N is the set size, so that would be the total number of items in your sample. And R is your subset size, so that's always going to be smaller because you know a subset is a part of your whole set, right? So that's going to be the number of items that you want to be selected from the sample. So if I had 10 people, I'll just say 10 students, and I wanted to know how many ways I could choose president, vice president, like just 3 students. I want to choose, or I'll say order 3 students. If order mattered, then my notation would be permutation 10, comma 3. So that means I have 10 students and I want to know how many ways I can order them in groups of 3 if order mattered. So then your formula says to take n, which would be 10, and factorial I talked about in the last video, and then I'm going to take 10 n minus r, which is 10 minus 3, and of course that's 7. And then we'll talk about how to multiply this out. So here is an example. You were left a list of 9 chores to complete. In how many orders can you complete 5 of the chores? So first of all, order here is going to matter. And why does it matter? Because if you do chore A, B, C, D, E in that order, or if you do B, A, C, D, E, you've switched around the first 2 chores, and that's going to be a different ordering. So the order matters in which you complete these 5 chores, which means it's a permutation. So my notation is going to be 9 chores, and how many ways can I order 5 of them? So the formula, and hopefully you wrote this down, well, and if you didn't, I'll just remind you, is n factorial over n minus r factorial, and my n is 9 and my r is 5. So I'm going to do 9 factorial divided by 9 minus 5 factorial, and I want you to think about this. 9 factorial, and I'm just going to write out probably not all of this. Remember, is 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times blah 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 all the way down to 1. 9 minus 5 is 4 factorial, and 4 factorial is 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Okay, well now you can see that these are going to cancel out, and you're left with 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 times 5, because the 4, 3, 2, 1 canceled out. Well, that makes sense, because think about the fundamental counting principle. Says you have 9 chores to choose from. So you choose from 9 chores, then you've done a chore. Now you've got 8 chores left to choose from, then you did that chore. Then you have 7 chores to choose from, then 6 chores, and then 5 chores. Here's your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chores. So it really, I want you to understand that a permutation is really just the fundamental counting principle. So one of 2 things: you do not have to use this formula, or you can use this formula. Okay, now next I'm going to show you where permutation is on your calculator. So grab your calculator, or you can just jot this down. Okay, so we were doing 9 permutation 5, which is the same as 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 times 5, and that answer is 15,120. I'm sorry, I think on the last slide I didn't even write down the answer. Or on your calculator. Okay, so let me write these out. All right, depending on which calculator you have, they're kind of different. So note I have 84 directions and then I have 89 directions. So I'll start with 84s. you don't do this yet, but you're going to go to math and you're going to arrow over to PRB and you're going to choose number 2. But before you do that, the format says you have to type in the first number first, which is always your total number of objects. So type in 9, then go back to math, choose PRB, choose number 2, which is, it says NPR. And then after that, you type in the 5. So it's going to look like this on your home screen, 84s. And when you press enter, you should get the 15,120. Now 89s, your format is just like this in the parentheses. So you don't have to do anything, you don't have to type anything before. So you just go second 5 to your math button and then choose probability. And then you should see this little NPR. So when you select that, it'll give you an open parenthesis and you type in 9, comma 5 and your comma is above 7, and then make sure you close that parenthesis and you should also get 15,120. Now obviously if you are getting error messages or not finding things, please make sure you ask me about this tomorrow, because it'll be a nice shortcut for you to get that answer. Okay, you tried this one on your own. Make sure you can find everything on the calculator. So you have 6 homework assignments to complete over the weekend. However, you only have time to complete 4 of them on Saturday. In how many orders can you complete 4 of the assignments? You've always wanted to know the answer to this, didn't you? Okay, see how you do. All right, here's the answer. First of all, order matters, because if you do math and then English or English and then math, that would be 2 different orders. So it is a permutation, and you have 6 assignments, and you're going to complete 4 of them. So your n is 6, your r is 4. So I just wrote the equation over here, 6 factorial over 6 minus 4 factorial, which is 2 factorial. So that's, or if you don't like the permutation idea, you can just say, okay, I have 4 assignments or 4 slots to fill, 6 to choose from, then I'm down to 5, then I'm down to 4, then I'm down to 3, which is the same thing as the permutation formula, and you get 360 ways.